First of all, I just want you to appreciate yourselves for being here, making it here through the rain, and ensuring that we are here to have this conversation. I think is not something we must take for, or we should take for granted. So you guys can just appreciate yourselves, at least a round of applause for yourselves. And also, for the sake of the cold weather of Nakuru, I think I want to give you that opportunity, especially the gentlemen, to just say hi to the person seated next to you, because you never know in your wedding when they say, where did you meet? It can be a beautiful story to say that you met at Political Headache when you're having an amazing conversation. People will actually think you're intelligent. So this is a very good place to meet. So please say hi to the person next to you. Kuna mmoja ashakula rejection. You should never be that fast. Time is of essence, eh? Thank you very much. So, my name, as rightfully put by Odhiambo, is Mundalo Advice. I am a communication and political strategist by profession. And I run a communication company called Two Sense Leadership Institute, where we basically do leadership training and communication consultancy. I'm largely a political animal. And so that is why I'm largely known as the National Youth Chair of the Jubilee Party, because I served the party when we were the ruling party and up until very, very recently. We are the party that is responsible for the SGR. We are the party that is responsible for the student internship program and very many other good things that we were able to do at our time. And I'm sure you guys agree with me. If you had the time, you would have clapped for us. You guys disagree? Anyway, I'll not go into the detail of that. Now, today, this is Political Headache, and Odhiambo has rightfully talked to you about what this is about. We basically try to have a conversation that is objective, because as the young population of this country, we owe it to this country to be more objective than emotional, right? That for the country to move forward, we must be able to decipher the facts. And that's why for us, we try to do a town hall that we can reason with each other, so that we can convince each other and not shout at each other, so that we are able to ensure that you become very important by the nature of your point and not the strength of your voice. And when we look at it, we feel like you guys carry the wherewithal of intelligence and you carry the wherewithal of understanding where this country is coming from. And when we start having these conversations from our perspective here, then we can cascade them downwards to our other colleagues from different quarters, so that together we make decisions that are informed, not just decisions that are euphoric. And that way we can get the country moving forward. That is the whole essence why Political Headache was actually formed. And that is the whole essence why we have these conversations. And that's the whole reason why you were picked in Nakuru County to be among the people who will have this conversation. Because by the breadth of Nakuru County, we actually think that you hold an unbiased view, and you have quite an intelligent viewpoint of things that we can be able to really convince each other and move the country forward. So I'll be taking you through this, and the first conversation I want us to have, I'll be giving gentlemen here an opportunity to just speak to you for about 3 minutes of their thoughts on the Cybercrime and the Cyber Amendment Act. Just about 3 minutes, so that by the time we're having the panel conversation, you have an overview of what people think about. I'm sure all of us are aware of that, right? It is the conversation we are having left, right, center in the country. So that is where we want to start. That's where we want to start understanding what is this about, and also start preparing your question and your opinion. Not just your question, your opinion. The people who are coming here to converse and the people who are coming to sit in front here don't have a mightier opinion than yours. They don't have monopoly of wisdom. It is just that at one point, we must have some people this side and others that side. So they are not here to inform or educate you. No, they are here to form a basis under which, then from which we can have a conversation, right? Thank you very much. So I want to invite the first person that is going to share an opinion on that subject that I have told you about, on the subject of cybercrime. And also just so that you can also get to see him, because most of you have seen him online, and he's the face of this Political Headache. The person who put this together, started this journey, and so far, Nakuru County is county number 4. And so this gentleman, all this is courtesy of this gentleman. So ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Oduor Jagero. Thank you.
I was just telling him that Mundalo really knows how to make use of the microphone better than Odhiambo. Hello, people of Nakuru. How are you doing? You are good? I'm so happy to be here. Nakuru is a town that I pass by a lot, but I don't spend a lot of time here. I think I've spent the night in Nakuru maybe 2 or 3 times only. But it's a country, it's a county or a town that reminds me so much of the second president, Daniel Arap Moi. He used to be here a lot. And the reason why I started Political Headache is just one. That I started by a podcast called Dialogues with Jagero. Now, Dialogues with Jagero I started about 3 years ago. My second podcast that I did, I think the 3rd or the 4th was here in Nakuru. I was talking to a lady who is a morgue attendant. Do you remember the lady that went viral on TikTok? Yeah. So I was here and I was seated with her at a restaurant somewhere. And she was, I then sat down with someone and told me that I think you are going to be really well known maybe in a year's time. And I agreed with them. But then I started going really, really viral after about 2 months. And I realized that there is a lot of power in telling stories. Not telling the stories of politicians or telling the stories of people, of CEOs, but telling the stories of ordinary people. Now, the word is problematic. The word is ordinary people. But I don't know if there is any other word for it. Mundalo, you are better schooled than I am. What is the correct word for people who are not in leadership position and they are not CEOs? They are citizens. So Mundalo tells me that they are citizens. So it is very powerful when the people talk to each other. It's very powerful when somebody in Nakuru actually talks about the leadership of Nakuru. It's very powerful when somebody that is in Nakuru and nobody knows them and they have a shop next door talking about the bad things that President Ruto is doing or the good things that he is doing. Right? So when I started sharing stories on DWJ, I realized that actually there is a lot of power in the voices of the people. I was born by the rivers of, by the shores of River Nyando, where, in Kisumu, it's about 25 minutes drive from Kisumu. The politics is for the MPs in Luo Nyanza. It's for the governors. It is for the MCAs. It is for ultimately Raila Odinga when he was still alive. Right now, people are wondering whether we are going to be having another Raila Odinga huko. There are supporters of Babu Owino in this house who are saying that Babu is the next kingpin of Luo Nyanza. But then, so when I realized that DWJ was giving me a voice, I realized that, okay, I can also talk about politics. So I started the Political Headache. And a lot of people found the name very funny. But the politics of our country is very headachy, right? So that is why we are going from town to town and places where we can hand over the mic to someone who voted for President Ruto in this city. And now thinks that, okay, we voted for you, but now you are not doing what I actually put you there to do. And that brings me to the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act. Okay, and I just want to background and create context for this before we start discussing it. So this was a response to the threats that emerged in 2018. Parliament enacted to the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act. Of course, it was a landmark law for the digital age. It was assented on the 16th of May that year and came into force 2 weeks later. So why was the Act designed? The Act was designed to ensure detection, prevention, and prosecution of computer and cyber crimes, and to protect confidentiality, according to the people who put together the bill, the bill to protect the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of data and systems. It also marked the beginning of Kenya's formal war against digital crime. Now, the law introduced two main kinds of offenses. The first were technical crimes such as hacking. You know what hacking is. Data interference, computer fraud, forgery, and cyber terrorism, which was a big thing. You remember Al-Shabaab and the rest of them. This aligned Kenya with international cybersecurity norms. The second were content-based offenses. So think Facebook, think Twitter or X, including false publication, cyber harassment. You see people. The other day there is a boy that put something on Facebook, I think, about the death of Raila, and he was cyberbullied and he had to leave the city and go to the village. So there was cyber harassment, identity theft, and child pornography, which obviously is a bad thing. While the first group was widely supported, the second sparked national debate. Several society groups argued that criminalizing the publication of false information or offensive messages could be used to silence journalists, whistleblowers, and critics. And those are the critics like Fanya Mambo, the critics like Joaquim Simiu. So this controversy led to a major constitutional challenge by Bloggers Association of Kenya, known as BAKE. They claimed that several sections of the law violated freedom of expression and privacy as guaranteed by the Constitution. So what did the High Court do? Because they went to court, it was suspended. But in 2020, it upheld most of the law, ruling that some limitations on digital speech were permissible, if reasonable and justifiable in an open and democratic society. So what did that do? It set the stage for what would come next. By 2024, Kenya's digital landscape had evolved dramatically. Cyber criminals were using virtual currencies, deepfake videos, AI, and social engineering to commit crimes. The government argued that the 2018 law was outdated and needed reinforcement to deal with the modern realities. That's their word, not me saying. There was also growing concern, according to the government, of online radicalization, cyberbullying, and the spread of harmful content. And so, in October 2025, President William Ruto assented to the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Amendment Act number 17 of 2025. What did the government say? The government said the new law would strengthen the existing act, protect vulnerable groups, and help courts deal with more effectively with the crimes committed online. But this move also reopened old wounds. Which are the old wounds? Freedom of speech, privacy, and state power. Whereby the government can decide, wewe in Nakuru, we don't like your website, we don't like your account, we are going to take it down. So, what did they do? In the original act, they used the word access. Simply meant gaining entry into a computer system. They amended the law, now defines it as gaining entry through a program or device. The amendment also includes new definitions that broaden the legal understanding of digital economy. Computer misuse now means the unauthorized use, modification, or access to computer system, program, or data. Cybercrime is defined as any offense, and this is where a lot of people are having the problem. Any offense committed through the use of information and communication technology to target networks, systems, or data to facilitate another crime. So, the most powerful addition comes in Section 6, which empowers authorities, President Ruto, and anybody like the Interior Minister or any other person to act when digital spaces are used for illegal purposes. It states that where it is proved that a website or application promotes unlawful activities, inappropriate sexual content of minor, terrorism, religious extremism, or cultism, the authority may issue a directive to render the website or application inaccessible. This effectively gives the state, under judicial oversight, the power to shut down online platforms promoting extremism or child abuse. Finally, Section 27 of the Principal Act, which deals with cybercrime, cyber harassment, has also been amended. It now states that harassment includes acts likely to cause another person to commit suicide. And this is problematic for so many people. The intent here is to respond to rising cases of online bullying linked to depression and suicide, particularly among young people. However, critics like Joachim and Fanya Mambo argue that the phrase likely is subjective and may be open to abuse. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we are dealing with today. This is what we want to discuss today. And I am so happy that we can sit down and talk about this. So thank you very much. Welcome to Face the Nation.
Another big round of applause for Odor Jagero. I am happy that in his opening remarks, he was biased in the use of examples because he only used Fanyamambo and Joachim as examples throughout his speech. But be that as it may, I'm hoping that the next speaker will be more generous with his examples, right? So ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause as I welcome Brother Adrian Oluoch. And as we do that, I just want to request the gentlemen and ladies giving the opening remarks that I had to be a bit lenient with Jagero because he is the employer. For the rest of us, I will kindly request that we stick to exactly 3 minutes because I'm sure these ladies and gentlemen have a lot to share, right? So we want to run very fast so that we give you the mic so that we can have your opinion. Another round of applause for Adrian. Clap for him also for wearing an expensive suit.
It's not that expensive. I'm still a comrade. So, it's good to be here today. And Jagero told me I should get a speech. You know, I don't love scripted things. I always love to talk to the top of my head. But today, you know, when I go to a room that certainly I do not belong, as a young person, they always ask me, what industry am I in? And definitely I tell them that I am in the legal industry. And then they proceed to ask me, what do you do in the legal industry? Then there, I tell them that I am a legal thought leader. So for a second, you might think that I'm on to something big, but I'm just avoiding to say that I'm a law student. Because definitely I want my competency to make up for the inexperience. Otherwise, I'm well on my way. In a few days, I will be dropping the tag of a comrade, and I will be graduating with my bachelor's degree in law. Don't clap. I still have 2 years again at Kenya School of Law. 2 years of intense reading of the advocates training program and by examination before now I can become a fully fledged lawyer and advocate so that I can represent for you your cases pro bono without any money. Thank you so much. So we have a great panel of intellectuals, and I do consider myself an intellectual. And so can it be, of course, the panel that constitutes this show today. But for me, I am a different type of intellectual, and I consider myself a radical intellectual. The word radical intellectual, I take it as an inspiration from someone we called Walter Rodney, who among us in my book, I consider as the biggest heroes when it comes to the freedom of Africans and black people. Unlike certain fraudsters such as Jomo Kenyatta, Julius Nyerere, or even Nelson Mandela. And for people who read history very well, they're the reasons and the foundation of our problems today. So Walter Rodney tells us that an ideal intellectual is one who grounds their work among ordinary people, linking his thinking, thoughts, and knowledge to the mass struggles of the people. You can't be a smart chap and detach yourself from politics. That is failing in your historical life. And the reason why this is important is because there is a huge population of oppressed people who don't have the knowledge or the gift as you do about what is causing their suffering. They want liberation, but don't have an understanding of the laws, the policies, and the economic that is responsible for their suffering. Walter Rodney states that if the people are to liberate themselves, they must understand how they have been oppressed. One of the things about studying law is that it has widely opened my mind. And reading about politics and history has given me the responsibility to let you know of the system that oppresses you. As we face this Computer and Cybercrimes Act and many other bills that have been assented, I want to remind Kenyans of an important concept in law. There is something in law that we call lawfare. And the word lawfare originates from law and warfare. So lawfare, it's used in democracies today. It is a strategic use of law as a weapon to achieve tyrannical political control. So they use the appearance of legality to suppress dissent, opposition, or civic reforms. So they often justify their repressive laws by invoking legitimate public concerns such as, national security, combating misinformation, public order, or they even say protecting moral values. However, behind this justification is the true intent to control the population, weaken critics, or limit accountability of the citizens. So this creates what many scholars call authoritarian legality, where legal forms and democratic procedures are maintained, but the substance of democracy is hollowed out, thereby to create an illusion of democracy. Most of you have seen the situation in Tanzania, but most of you don't realize that for over 50 years, Tanzania has never had a media-free law. Why? Because there's an act that was passed that was called the Newspapers Act in Tanzania. And it is only after so many years that Tanzanians have realized the system that oppresses them, and they have seen beyond the acts that were put in place. So, in simple terms, in genuine democracy, the law protects people from power. But in lawfare democracies, the law protects power from the people. So I am here today to awaken the consciousness of Kenyans to help them understand not only what they are fighting for, but why they must fight and who benefits from your own silence as an individual. I am someone who does not entirely support this government, and I will never support this government. And next year, we are going to be forming one of the biggest political movements. Most people are really focused on vying, joining a party. But we want a political movement of every young person. Not just vying, but to remind people of the constant atrocities that this government has done. Because one of the biggest tragedies when it comes to Kenyans, when it is a campaign mood, people start forgetting most of the things. We start making arguments based on who is aligning with who. Yet you forget the number of youths who died in 2024. You forget the number of billions that the president has stolen. We have to keep reminding ourselves of these atrocities up to 2027. And I am certainly sure that President William Ruto will not be re-elected. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Adrian Odhiambo, for your heavy opinion on cybercrime. For the heavy opinion on cybercrime and the Amendment Act. I'm sure you heard what he had to say about it, right? Right? Because I'm sure in his remarks he had quite some views on that particular amendment. Because that is what we want to really stick to this conversation of the opening remarks about. Then we'll give you the map to tell us who you think will be elected and or re-elected, right? Because the decision will still come from you people. So that Adrian has to say the ills of government, right? And we must also allow another person to also say the plus of government. That is what this conversation is about. So I want to bring on board another amazing Kenyan to again come and help us canvass the same agenda of Cybercrime Law and Computer Misuse Act. I'm hoping I'm putting it right. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Fanya Mambo Kinuthia. I was told that I'm informed that this is Kinuthia's town, and that's why he's delaying, so that the clap is slightly heavier than the rest of others. So guys, you can clap for Fanya Mambo slightly more. Fanya Mambo is also running for Member of Parliament, if I'm not wrong, for Dagoretti South constituency. Yeah, as he continues, so it's a political gimmick always, so that people can be more enthusiastic, and you guys can also clap harder, because he has said this is his town. This is his town. So, and as he does that, please make sure that, I hope all of us have quite an understanding of the laws we are talking about, right? It's important that you have quite an understanding, so that together we can canvass this agenda very, very objectively. Very, very objectively. All these words I'm saying, Fanya Mambo, is so that you arrive. So the more time you take, the more these people will discover that I don't have much to say. So for as long as he is not here, ladies and gentlemen, keep pretending that there's something very important I'm telling you. So keep looking at me, pay attention to me. Start discovering a few things about me. For the ladies, start discovering that, hey, by the way, he looks good enough. Yeah? For the men, start asking yourselves whether you'll join my campaign for Senate in Bungoma. Thank you very much. Another round of applause as welcome Fanya Mambo.
Thank you very much. Next time, get me a lady to mic me. Maybe it will be faster. It will be faster, it will be easier, it will be better. Asanteni. A very good afternoon to all of us. Good afternoon. Tuko salama Nakuru. Point of correction, Nakuru is not my town. I was born and brought up in Dagoretti. And today, as we come to speak about the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Bill, mimi naanza na kuomba msamaha. This bill imetoka kwa chairman wa hiyo committee ya ICT in Parliament. And that chairman happens to be my member of Parliament, John KJ Kiarie. They purport to have gone round and collected views to form what is in that bill. Mimi, on behalf of the people of Dagoretti, because I live there and I talk to them, na nimewa consult, wamesema niombe msamaha kwa sababu walituma mtu bunge ambaye hakufanya kazi waliomtuma akaifanye. Mtakubali msamaha yetu? That bill is not a representation of what the people of Dagoretti South sent their member of parliament to speak about. He's the same person who told us ni Photoshop, sindio? Hamuna maandamano nyi mulifanya. And when they were abducted, he said, wamejificha kwa girlfriend, sindio? So as the people of Dagoretti South, we are profusely apologetic for having brought before you a member of parliament who would cause us to sit here and speak about a very draconian bill that we shouldn't be having a conversation about. Tunaomba msamaha, hatutarudia hiyo makosa. And it is for that reason that I have offered myself to vie in Dagoretti South, ili to replace bad leadership with good leadership, so that Kenyans will not waste their time discussing terrible bills. Kenyans don't have to discuss terrible bills if you put leaders in place who discuss the right things for Kenyans. I want to applaud the courts for having put on hold section 6 of that terrible thing. And section 6 had everything to do with giving power to government. You know, they have a switch. Wanaamka kama Tanzania nasema internet on, internet off. Internet on, internet off. That nonsense is what they were looking at. When I was studying law at the Catholic University, one of the things we were taught is that there are things called canons of interpretation. And one of them is called the mischief rule. Yani mischief from the word mischievous. When the judges are looking at a law and they want to interpret, they ask, what mischief was this law coming to cure? And I can tell you for free, there is no mischief that these people wanted to cure with this law. They had looked at their own bad manners. And because they want to continue doing bad manners, and they don't want to be painted on the internet as having done bad manners, so they think the problem is the internet. So that when young people demonstrate, and the policemen shoot them, and BBC comes and does a documentary showing who was shooting the Gen Z, they don't arrest the guy who was shooting the Gen Z. They arrest the guy who was doing the documentary showing who was killing the Gen Z. This law has got only one mischief. They said things that can cause anger and fear and tension in the country. Because they know the previous demonstrations, walikuwa wanangojea tufanye vitu ile ujinga yao ya kitambo kuita watu tunawapea 200. They realized that we usually go online and there is a strong fist saying occupy parliament. So for them, the internet is the problem. The problem is not the finance bill they are passing. The internet is the problem because it is talking about the terrible things they are doing. I've always told them, why don't you do good things and let us see if anybody is going to paint you online in a bad way for doing good things. Yesterday I saw President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta speaking somewhere. Everything he said is over the internet today. True or false? Sasa wewe ni mbunge mahali, umechukua picha ukifanya makosa, unaambia mtu pelekea Ruto, huyo mtu anaichukua anaweka kwa mtandao. Sasa mnataka kushika huyo mwenye ameiweka kwa mitandao, you don't want to discuss your bad manners. This bill is about that. Finally, because I know my 3 minutes are almost over, they are trying to tell you that this bill is coming to protect you from child pornography, is coming to protect you from those things that may cause you to want to commit suicide. I'll tell you only 2 things about that. The first one is a government that promises to shoot you in the leg. A government that orders shoot on sight. A government that says they can kill you. Would they care if you watched pornography? Start by showing that you cared about our lives first without promising us risasi ya mguu, and then tell us you care about pornography. You cannot be here telling us, oh, pornography, oh, mutaona, oh, shut up. If you cared about us, you wouldn't be telling us about risasi ya mguu. And the final leg to that one is, they are saying things that might make you want to commit suicide. I mean, affordable housing makes me want to commit suicide. I came through this road. And when I got to Kenare, that forest is down. The logs are all over. You are giving us a day to plant trees, and then you allow morons to mow the whole Mau forest. Those are the things that make us want to commit suicide. If I'm being told from January, pesa ya kupeleka mtoto junior secondary has more than tripled, that will cause me to want to commit suicide. When you steal 11 billion from e-citizen, that will cause me to want to commit suicide. Kenya Kwanza, if you are looking at me and you're listening to me, the things that make these Kenyans want to commit suicide is to wake up and see, kuna pumbavu imeiba pesa, imeshindwa kuhesabu anapima na latili. You know, it's easier to weigh money because you are such a dimwit, you can't count it. You've stolen too much, so you just weigh and say, niliacha pesa 15 kg, nikikuta imepungua by 800 grams, nitajua mumeiba pesa yangu. That's how far it's gotten. So the things that make us want to commit suicide are of that kind. I do not want to speak forever, but I must say for the last time, kama watu wa Dagoretti South, hatukutuma mbunge wetu akapitishe sheria ya upuzi kama hii. And the people of Dagoretti South have told me, ukifika Nakuru, omba msamaha. Ambia watu wa Nakuru, that bad manners is not us. I'm offering myself for that seat because I know all of you, mahali mko, we need 289 members of parliament who think well. Ya Dagoretti imeenda. Ebu, I challenge you. Nyinyi hapa, simamisheni MCA kwenyu. Museme hii kiti tunachukua. You will. Museme hii MP tunachukua. You will. 2027, we are not talking about nonsensical leaders anymore. We are talking of leaders we made that we can hold to account. God bless you. God bless Kenya.
Another round of applause for Fanyamambo Kinuthia. I think this town hall was supposed to be Reti South. Yeah. But thank you, Fanyamambo. And I hope as we continue, remember after this I'm coming to you so that you can have your very, very objective opinion on this idea of the cyber laws. Remember, sometimes politicians will tell you what we want you to hear. So it's also your responsibility to read for yourself and know that exactly part of the reason why bills pass in parliament is not because of one member of parliament. It's because of 290 members of parliament. So we can't really put all these on the head of the MP of Dagoretti South because our brother wants to be MP there, right? But be that as it may, let me welcome another lieutenant, the Secretary General of the Safina Party, Joachim Simiu. Another round of applause, at least for you need to clap like you know he's a Secretary General. Yeah. He's not just a masquerade or people like me and Fanyamambo who are looking for jobs. This is a man with a job. He's a Secretary General of the Safina Party. So if you can't clap for him as an SG, at least clap for him for the things you can see.
Yeah. Hello. Are we good? My name is Joachim Simiu Wabuche. The third name I usually avoid to mention it because I know it will give you headache to mention it, the KH part of it. Most of you are seeing me for the very first time. Some of you are seeing me for the very first time one-on-one. Just the other day, someone mentioned here, I was in Bunge la Mwananchi. And I offered myself to vie as the president of Bunge la Mwananchi. But I took an early lead. Simuliona kuna gazeti siku ingine linasema Raila takes an early lead. So I did the same. So nikingojea kuapishwa, Oyugi akatoa kura Tharaka-Nithi akaapishwa ati yeye ni president. Lakini we should not suffer some things when they happen because one door closes for the other to open. I think exactly 1 month from there, I was elected by the National Delegates Conference of Safina Party as their Secretary General. And for that, I am very grateful. I come from a small county called Bungoma with only 9 constituencies. I come from a constituency called Kandui. And in this political journey, something has given me all this opportunity of even coming here to contribute is the social media platform, where people used to take videos of me contributing to the political discourse of the country. And Kenyans took interest in my way of analyzing things. So I pay a lot of attention to any legislation that talks about social media because that's what has made me who I am today. And for you to understand some things, especially things like these Cybercrimes and Computer Misuse Act that we are discussing, don't use a lot of brains. Don't think a lot. You will miss the point. Being here today, in my own opinion, is actually the exact way of how the government wants things to go. And the fact that we are here discussing cybercrimes and computer misuse is what the government wants us to do. We are either knowingly or unknowingly helping the government achieve their goal. Because as far as they have shown that leading the country is difficult for them, people in this government are very brilliant people. And they use their brilliance only in areas that ensure their survival. So this bill is one of those attempts. I was sharing with Jageru and my learned friend Mugendi the other side, off camera, and I want to share the same with you. That when you have a criminal mind, the most dangerous people are people with good brains and a bad heart. Mtu ambaye ako na akili mzuri na roho mbaya, hey, chungana sana na huyo mtu. So when you want to rob a bank on this street, I want to share some criminal ideas and don't use them. You want to rob a bank the other side, but you know that in a calm environment, the police will be with you before you even do anything. So what do? You create a diversion. You create chaos down the road where all the police will be drawn, their attention will go there. So as they are dealing with that smoke screen, you rob your bank quietly and leave. Before they are done, wanakuja wanapata kumbe chenye walikuwa wanafanya the other side. That was not the real thing. The real thing was the bank on Kenyatta Avenue. And this is exactly what the government is doing, even with this bill of cybercrime. On the day the enigma died, the president saw it prudent, in his own wisdom, to sign 8 bills. And miraculously, the bill that has gained attention from the people is the Cybercrimes bill. But we are not talking about the other 7. The Cybercrimes bill is a Trojan horse, is a decoy for you to be excited about. They passed the things they know the courts will stop. And Sai, we are very happy saying that the courts have stopped Section 6. They knew exactly that that is going to happen. So as we are here discussing about cybercrimes and computer misuse, we have 2 bills. The devil is always the details. The privatization bill and the land amendment bill. But hawataki tuongelee hiyo. Wanataka tuongelee cybercrimes. And they have sent the most noisy people in the country to talk about it. Me included. I am even very angry that I'm contributing to the same. So, look at privatization bill. That a ministry can decide to sell a government asset without the approval of parliament. We are in a democratic country. In a democracy, all power belongs to the people. The representatives of the people are parliament. So if a government makes a decision and it's valid without the approval of parliament, it has eliminated the consent of the people, which in itself mutilates democracy. These bills were passed on the day the father of democracy died. You need to look at timing. Before don't spend a lot. Most of us here are not lawyers. And so in areas where I'm not an expert, I use my small brains God gave me. Look at the cybercrimes bill. It was tabled in Parliament in which month? August 2024. What was happening at the time? Gen Zs were very angry. They were posting things So how do you control them? You enact a law, and as my learned friend Adrian shared, you hide into legal jargon because you know Kenyans are very busy looking for unga. They will not interrogate this legal jargon in this bill. So you hide in those, but your intention is to curtail free speech. As I finish, because my friend, and seeing him reminds me something. Kama unaishi kwa ploti, and you have a neighbor that you don't know anatoka kabila gani. They speak very meticulous English and Swahili. And the accent is often hidden. They wear glasses even when their eyes are perfect. And they dress very well. Most probably, that's a Luya man from Bokusula. Unajua tukikuja hii town hatutaki kusema tunatoka Western. Mtu akikuuliza unasema unatoka West. So as I finish, I want us to be very alert with the things that are happening in this country. Gone are the days when we will be asking questions, na baba anasema nini? Before Baba went, he left the mandate. He made sure that everyone has a brain to fight for their own space. Baba fought for democracy because at that time that was the biggest issue. You could be detained without trial. On the day he died, they passed a bill that can take you to court without a court order. That is a digital way of detention without trial. And for your own sake and for your children's sake, please fight to the last drop of your blood to make sure that the democratic gains we've got are not clawed back. I'm in a party that talks about economic liberation, which is the ultimate freedom. But that cannot happen if such things are happening. Sasa mimi nikimaliza, chama yetu tunasema safina, safi na pesa. Safi na nini? Sasa shida yetu kwenye ni gani? Si ni pesa. Hii mambo mingi sasa tuwache. Thank you very much. Muri mnoko.
Thank you very much for listening to Abukusuman from Bungoma. And I hope you guys had his very elaborate opinion on the Cybercrime Law and Digital Rights Act. Did you hear his opinion on that? Did you hear that? Apart from, and he heavily told us that 7 other laws were passed. I waited to hear which ones. I hope we'll have a chance at some point for him to tell us which ones, right? So, thank you very much, Joachim Simiu. I had to cut him short because I realized he was just about to start promoting the Safina Party. And for the Safina Party to be promoted, it also needs to organize its own town hall. Then they can tell you about Safina na Pesa. But I think as an act of starting what the party stands for, Joachim, when we leave, you can just ensure all of us have some fuel, some transport from Safina Pesa. Sindo? Yeah, because the party must also lead with some actions, right? And all of us know that Jimmy Wanjigi is not a poor man, right? So we must at least feel him before. If there is one thing we are sure is that he has taken good care of Joachim, right? Kabisa, sindo? Ladies and gentlemen, I want now to invite, we call him our elder on this platform because I think in terms of governance experience, and even by age, he is older than most, if not all of us. And so sometimes we tap from his wisdom. We agree with him sometimes, and sometimes we disagree with him. And that is what forms a democracy. And so today, he is again here for us to listen to him and also agree or disagree with him, but not using emotions, but using reasons, right? So ladies and gentlemen, round of applause for the friend of the president, Honorable Idi Odoyo. Make of applause even better.
I'm not sure what the time is, but I can confidently say good afternoon, everyone. I am the Odoyo Owedi. Many have interacted with me physically, and many others in the cyberspace. The very place we want to regulate, the very place we want to protect you in, so that you can interact with me safely and with many others. That cyberspace is not for young people only. It is for everyone. And any law that is put there binds everyone. Sometimes back, President Uhuru Kenyatta was bullied until he pulled out of the cyberspace. In 2017, Brenda Akinyi was bullied until she committed suicide. And I also know many times I have reposted things I have picked from the cyberspace which have really embarrassed me. So, in a country like Kenya, where we have very many educated people, very many people who mean well, we must from time to time revise our laws and also enact new ones as time changes, as technology changes, as economy goes up, as people learn new ways of committing crimes. For example, there was a part of that 2018 cybercrime law which used the word access. But as time went on, it was discovered that that is very difficult to argue in court, because we can access your laptop from a remote area. And that, the dictionary meaning of access would not work. That is why from time to time, we also need to change the definition of terms that we use in law. I am not going to want to deny anybody the opportunity to scrutinize every law and see where it affects you. But when you want to put a law that prevents making noise, the Makangas will not allow you to. Because for them, that is their game. They think they are the only would-be victims. People who use the cyberspace always think that that place shouldn't be regulated. But I can tell you for free, you will also one day be a victim of unregulated cyberspace. You will be. I'm sure you have even been before, but it wasn't big enough to bring you down like it has brought others. We can only look at the ones that are there that are not so good. Then we deal with them. You know, it takes one or two or even three, just 3 buttons to delete something that has caused damage. That is why that law was being amended to say the police can ambush you and get it and use it to prosecute you if you have caused pain to some people. But I want you to look at the analogy between the physical world and the cyber world. In the physical world, there can be physical bullying, not only by word of mouth, but physical punches and kicks. In the cyberspace, it can also happen in the cyber language. And it can cause you a lot of pain until you don't sleep, probably until you even go to hospital. So before we go to the details of different sections of those laws that offend you, let us just accept that the law is necessary. It was after Brenda Akinyi died in 2017 that the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Law was enacted. And because of that, people didn't make so much a noise about it. There are things which happen in our lives to inspire enactment of new laws and revision of old ones. And it must happen. And I can tell you also for free, where politicians are involved, there is no law they don't want to challenge. It even gets worse if they don't like the person in power. They will challenge every law, each and every one. Because human beings, we like status quo. We like the comfort zone we find ourselves in. That is why you find yourself in a church and you don't challenge it and you don't want to hear about another one. You want to remain there and there, even if Pastor Nganga is slapping you in church. My friends, let us be dynamic. Let's change with the times. Let's embrace new ideas. Let's embrace new things, new laws, and new everything. And also, in matters politics, we normally want to compare because that is when you know the motive. If you don't compare what happened in 2014, 2017, 2022, and 2025, you will not know the motive of those politicians. Because human beings like me and you, it just takes word of mouth to make you commit suicide, to make you kill another person, to make you believe somebody so bad, even if it's somebody you have lived with 30 years next door. One day the jirani will come and tell you very many things in 2 minutes, and you want to kill. And yet you have been living with him there for 30 years and seeing him, and you never thought he was that bad. Because emotions impede our judgment. All you need to do with you is raise your emotions. Create fear in you. Sometimes it's not even fear we create to impede your judgment. We can even create love in you, and it will impede your judgment. So let us go back and look at this. I am not saying that law is 100% good. In fact, I don't agree with the 20 million fine. I don't agree with it. Because most of us who commit crimes, many times it is not premeditated. Many times. I have a little story of what happened. I used to be chairman of an organization called Lake Basin Development Authority. And Lake Basin Development Authority was developed sometimes in 2012 to 2013. And it was to cost about 4.6 billion. And then the government did not have money. So the contractor agreed to borrow money to do it, and then you'll be paid as money is collected. But then the case went to EACC that there were some improprieties in the building of the whole thing because they decided that the cost is very high. What they were complaining about in the media every day, that the people who developed it stole 4.6 billion that was used to build it. So when I got tired of every day you see a report in the media, stolen, they will be arrested, and it made it difficult for that mall to get business. So I decided to personally walk to EACC and ask them one question. If you say these people stole 4.6 billion, what did they use to build the mall that are standing there? Sometimes people do things to make it difficult for others so that they can get something out of it. So I told them, you started investigating this mall in 2014. Today we are in 2019. And you are still writing letters. And some documents you have asked for them 4 times. Don't you think you are mischievous? And I was a government official, and I stood right. After 2 weeks, they arrested the people, and the case now is out. And nobody has been convicted. But the whole thing ran for 6 years, and it made that mall become a ghost town. So it takes bold people like you and me to make things right. But let us be fair. Let us not be moved by politicians. Politicians are born liars. You know, there was a time Uhuru Kenyatta said he wanted to make Raila Odinga the president. And he said, I'll take you to climb Mount Kenya. He never took him there even once. Because he was only taking him if the BBI passed so that he becomes prime minister. An executive one which who appoints the cabinet. Today he has popped up with Matiang'i. Matiang'i was in the mountain the other day. Politicians are interesting people. They will not take you through fairness. They will take you through things that make them get what they want. Thank you.
Another round of applause for our elder there. I think that is quite an intense point on the subject of politicians, right? Because I've always said that most of the time when you listen to politicians, you must always ask yourself, every time a politician speaks something and you think he's speaking your mind, ask yourself why. Ask yourself why. Because there must always be a reason why a politician will say something that agrees and resonates with your brain. And most of the time it's because they want the vote from you. So before you agree with the thinking of a politician, always ask yourself the question, why? And that way, I can assure you, you'll be able to make your decisions in a much better, firmer approach, even as we discuss these bills. I want to allow Wakili to come, and he has promised me that he'll do exactly 2.5 minutes. And then I'm very enthusiastic to take this mic to you so that we can be able to hear your opinion as well about this subject matter. I'm sure some of you might have seen him on your television. If not, you have the privilege of seeing him here. So, and the good thing about having a lawyer in the building is that him not being a political animal and not coming from political parties, he stands nothing to benefit from lying to you because you are potential clients. So ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for Jared as he comes to speak on the same matter. Thank you, Jared.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is my Sabbath day, so happy Sabbath, everyone. Happy Sabbath once more. It's my first time to be here, and I want to express gratitude in front of the nation to Jagero, who took time to call me and to invite me here. I am typically what you would refer to as nondescript. Nondescript means I am unknown, I have no title nationally. I have only come to talk to you as a brother would to a sister. And let me begin by asking all of you just a simple question. How many have read this bill? This that we are talking about? 1, 2, 3, 4. So we can say less than a quarter, no? All right. In every single society that we have ever had on this earth, we have something called the idea of government. And it is implanted in men's heads and ideas. Because consent for every government derives its consent from the people. If I can just give you a brief example. Nebuchadnezzar, who ruled one of the biggest kingdoms in this world, got his power from Nabopolassar. Nabopolassar, Esarhaddon, Sennacherib, Sargon, the troops. And so with every single government that came after that. But one thing we have seen from governments is when power resided in a monarch, people said it was too much because rulers could rule with arbitrariness. So what did we do? We created 3 arms of government. We said, let's go to have an executive, a legislature, judiciary, right? Feel free to agree with me. Now, when we did that, we noticed the executive has too much power, so let's move it to the legislature. When the legislature had too much power, we said, let's move it to the judiciary as another check and balance. Now, every single person who has come here has only told you that the government does bad things. The government is a bad animal. It is going to torture you. It is going to ruin your life. And perhaps to some degree, we all agree that we have experienced some unfairness and injuries from the government, yes? So that any person who would stand here to say anything that remotely looks like you're supporting government automatically becomes an enemy. Is that a fair statement to say? Fair statement to say. But there are people who we have now noticed, have developed a new ideology. And this ideology is that you do not have a right to be wrong. You do not have a right to be wrong if the general consensus is we have called something bad. So, the same people will tell you we have freedom of speech. But our constitution does not say we have freedom of speech. We have qualified speech. Because you cannot have hate speech. But don't people hate each other? Right? So we don't have freedom of speech. So that is the context on which we rotate around. You don't start from the law, you start from what we agreed in the Constitution itself. Let me tell you something else. Have you ever noticed the people who are always attacking, ask any one of them one law that they have developed in response to the bad one? None. Zilch. I wasn't referring to you personally, so don't be in a hurry. Don't be in a hurry. None. Or if someone says that something is bad, and I'm not necessarily talking about this, I'm leading into something. Or if they say something is bad, the primary concern is not necessarily to guide civility. It is to show you the badness and most likely to ascend to power using the defense. Tell me if I'm wrong. Right? How many people are here claiming ascendancy to power? All right. So, if you look at what the bill that is under contention, the Amendment Act, I talked to the MP himself because I have a right to form personal judgment and to be wrong about the judgment. And this is something I'm asking each and every one of you. Wouldn't you want to live in a society where we can challenge each other on ideas and I can also be wrong publicly and be corrected, instead of we have a general consensus that we don't know where it comes from? That general consensus is what determines what the public has accepted to be true or wrong. Now, the government has checks and balances, but that society does not. They set the agenda, they enforce the agenda, and they are never wrong. Ever. You will never see them apologizing when they have made an error. All right? Look at this bill. I asked Dawood, what did you want to say? He told me the following things. I wanted to put a stop to organized cyber crime. The initial comments on social media was, if you comment on Twitter, you'll be given a 20 million fine. Is it true? That is what we call patently false. We also decided last year that we will suspend data protection. Because we disagree with MPs, there is nothing called innocent till proven guilty. We will post your personal information as vengeance. What that typically means is we have created our own ideology of rule of law by people who we will never see. So that if there is a day where you will claim innocent till proven guilty, it will not work. That is the ideology which I am telling you today that is being permeated by this thing that has created itself outside government. Okay? Let's go to something else. And that is primarily doxing, which we all agreed we can do. And not a single person who was opposing this thing came and said, you cannot post people's children. What if they were yours? You cannot post someone where they live. You cannot touch something. You cannot become the very evil that you hate. How then will you stop it? If we all decided to become evil, who will be the good one? Let me also conclude by saying the following. Now that we have moved power, we have changed what it means to have rule of law. We have decided that on a whim, on caprice of someone, let us have the judiciary interpret for us. And now I want you to look at it. Think with me. Now that we are moving power directly to the judiciary, what are we essentially saying? Let the judiciary be the lawmaking institution. Okay? Let the judiciary be the what? Lawmaking institution. But does the judiciary make mistakes? It does. And most of the times, because of the ideology in which it subscribes to. So the judiciary is not infallible. Because what I have seen is that we have something called infallible ignorance. I heard here someone say there was no public participation, yet I counted 32 institutions in writing, including the Law Society of Kenya, of which I'm a member of, that submitted memoranda. Isn't that what we call patently false? Isn't that what we call patently false? Yes. So I am challenging you as a citizen. Perhaps the government is bad, but there is equally another nefarious ideology that we have another system of government that is not accountable to anyone. It is not accountable to you. It sets the agenda somewhere else. And that agenda you must subscribe. So, hate or love the bill, but please do not disinform the citizens. And even if I am alone, let me finish by saying, I know Mundalo is up. I'll finish. Anyone who has an honest belief in what they think and believe and has forced people to the disagreeable task of reevaluating their own assumptions will always end up being fought, or experiencing a lot of rage. Have you seen that? Anyone who has remotely supported is an automatic enemy, despite who you are. Lastly, if you cannot refute the argument of a person who has a contrary idea to you, then you must be prepared to experience rage. So I ask all of you, have you exercised your private judgment in exercising this exercise? Thank you.
What do you guys think? Do you need another opportunity to give another round of applause? I'm happy that we are opening up our wires even broader so that we even think more deeply as we make our decisions, right? Yes. So, where is Onesimus? I don't know whether I'd seen Onesimus Mosoti. Do we have him here? Oh, yes. I want to request Onesimus to come and take exactly 2 minutes. Then I hand the mic to the people because I'm sure the lawyer has tried to open us up and told us that even as we choose to love or hate, let us ensure that we have a deep conviction about it and that our right to hate or love should not interfere with the right of the other person. Onesimus, come and choose to love or hate. A round of applause for Onesimus Mosoti.
Good afternoon. So I'm usually not an English person, lakini kwa leo nitajaribu sana kwa sababu the previous speakers mumeni challenge, so I would like to take up that challenge. Na wale ambao hawajazoea leo itabidi wamesikia kidogo. And so this conversation has been quite educational and informative and quite timely because having an amendment of an act that was first introduced in 2018 and we are in 2025 is ultimately welcome. Sindio? But there are certain impacts that we need to address and that's why we are here. And today I can see most of you are on your phones, your smartphones. That's a great thing. So you might need to keep them close because probably after this, you may want to delete some posts. in your social medias. Because we are talking about a law that promised to protect us from digital harassment, cyber violence, and hackers, scammers, and other online crimes. But somehow, it ended up protecting us from ourselves in a way. So in 2018, when Parliament said, you know what, we need to secure Kenya's cyberspace, they told us that the law will stop fraudsters, online bullies, and cyber terrorists, and many more. And we said, great, because finally someone is doing something about those fake job opportunity messages that we receive or emails. But as time has gone by, something strange has happened, and people have started to be arrested, as we have seen from way back in 2019, for posting opinions online. Freedom of expression has come with a disclaimer. Terms and conditions apply. As an example, we all remember Rose Njeri, a software developer, very young, brilliant, and patriotic, who built a tool for public participation and for citizens, us, to exercise our democratic opinions and participation through taking part in the Finance Bill 2025. The reward for that civic engagement that she created is a very cozy stay at the police station, courtesy of Section 23 of that Act of 2018. And it said that she had done false publication and also interfering with the normal functioning of the systems. And I would like you to put quote in quote on that. This is where the Act starts colluding with or colliding with our digital rights. But on June 2025, another individual, a promising blogger and a teacher, an active digital voice, Albert Ojwang, was arrested for alleged defamatory posts on his ex account aimed at some untouchable senior police officials. He was taken to Central Police Station, and we know the story how it went, right? The next day, he was dead, and the autopsy said that there was head trauma, neck compression, and bruising. But apparently, he bumped his head on the walls. So the question is, how did we move from an non-existing online post to an arrest under the Cybercrimes Act, to custody, and then to death for Albert? This is not a bug in the system, but it is a system of control. If the law is used not only to regulate speech or free speech, but to end our lives, for what we must ask is, what are we building? Is it protection or silence? Article 33 of the Constitution guarantees us freedom of expression, not freedom of expression unless it annoys someone important. Article 31 gives us the right to privacy, yet online surveillance has become the new norm in the name of security. You post something controversial and suddenly you get some Subaru boys out there or watching for you. Article 34 protects us from freedom of the media, or rather protects the freedom of the media. But we have seen bloggers and journalists being arrested for purportedly posting or publishing fake news. So the list goes on that this amendment and so the Act of 2018 in many ways is going against the Constitution, and that is something that we must stand against, because the Constitution is the supreme document in this country. And my call is that let's not stop when they want us to stop. Let's not be silent when they want to silence us. Let's continue to voice ourselves online and offline. Viva comrades. Thank you.
Viva comrades. You guys were not as energetic at that time. Maybe let me repeat it so that my friend understands that you guys were with him. So, viva comrades. Viva comrades. Hey, Odhiambo, you can say viva louder than everyone else from this side. So, ladies and gentlemen, I really want to believe that, and this is my personal opinion, that religious extremism, cultism, and child pornography is not something that I would really advocate for or recommend. And sometimes, in my view, anything that seeks to deal with this is something that I highly welcome. Not because I think it's 100% perfect, but because I think that those are things that we must really, really deal with. Because when I look at the situation that happened in Shakahola just recently, it makes me very sad that 60 years after our independence, someone can actually make over almost 1,000 people kill themselves and there's nowhere we can take them. Why? Because we have no law to deal with that. I really think when there's an opportunity for us to put that in check, it is something that we must be able to do. I really, really honestly think that our children cannot be subjected to child pornography every other day. I really think if that is something that we need to deal with, my opinion is that it is actually something that we need to deal with. Recently, my party leader owned it up to himself and to the public that he was attending a funeral and said that he was struggling with some sickness. And after that, there were AI images of him in hospital beds and all over. And I could imagine the torture that that family goes through when they are looking at that. Just this morning, I was speaking to a friend of mine who is in this audience, and he was informing me of how President Uhuru is doing very badly. And then he started showing me photos of him in hospital beds. And he was not aware that those are just AI-generated images. And if there's an opportunity that we can actually be able to have a conversation around such kind of things, I really think we must be able to grab such kind of an opportunity. During the Uhuru administration and the Jubilee administration, President Uhuru had to kick himself out of social media. And I asked myself, if the president who is in charge of the military can fail on a war with the online audience, who are the rest of us? And I honestly think that if there is an opportunity for us to be able to converse and have a conversation around that and find ways to deal with it in a better manner, I really think it's an opportunity we must be able to take. During our protests, I woke up one day and President William Ruto was in a coffin. And I asked myself what his family would feel. I asked myself, this is a man with children. What would they feel? And I asked myself, if I woke up one morning and somebody sent me a photo of my own father in the coffin, what would I feel? Or my children, what would I feel? And for that, I really felt that it is very, very important that we must start having these conversations so that in any world, we must live under some guidance. Because when the days of our forefathers, when there was no constitution, our forefathers still lived under some law. They still had some basic understanding of things. So whereas the formula might be a formula we don't agree with, there might be things in a law that we don't agree with. Personally, there are things I don't agree with in the cybercrime law, but I don't think it should not be there because we must be able to live in an organized society. But that is my opinion.
All right, people of the internet, I hope that you're enjoying this episode very much. And I just had a break to tell you about my new book. You know, everybody says that there is no job, and that is true. Also, that was me 10 years ago. The problem is that everybody is trying to get a job in their town, in their city, in their marketplace. They ask friends for jobs, mothers call uncles, uncles call brothers, but there are no jobs. Let me tell you what no one is telling you. Jobs migrated online. What I actually mean is there are many, many jobs around the world and there is no one to do them except you. I work for Americans myself. I work for Europeans. I work for the Chinese. I work for the Australians. I work for the Canadians. And so, because I have done so much for myself, I said to myself, you know what? I should compile what I've been doing for the last 15 years. So in 2024, I wrote a digital book called Goldmine, 18 Hustles for Africans. And then in 2025, AI came. People say AI is taking away our jobs. And for me, I'm going to say false. There are actually AI jobs. Jobs are not being taken by AI, but there are new jobs online that are there because of AI. Now, mimi ni nani? I created more jobs. And for now, in my book, in my new book, we have 25 online and offline jobs that you can leverage on if you do not have a job. So in this powerful volume 2, I share 25 new actionable online hustles specifically researched and tailored for Africans. My new book provides clear step-by-step guidance drawing from my extensive experience and research, including the mistakes I've made and lessons I've learned over the 15 years that I have worked online. So what can you do online? You can become an executive assistant for busy folks in Europe, America, Canada, and get paid for tasks like watching videos and taking online surveys. Okay? You can build a lot of things. Build a business as a virtual assistant, start an e-commerce shop without capital, be an affiliate marketer, or you can also become actually an English tutor and tens of AI jobs. If you have a job, that is fine. But I also know that you can buy this book for that brother, for that sister, for that mother, for that cousin, for that husband who is watching Netflix all day at home. Buy it for your friend who is always asking for cash. You know that friend. Now, all the information is on the description below. You can also inbox me, you can WhatsApp me, or go to my website, which is odworjigero.co.ke.
I want to give this mic to you and get your opinion on this aspect. I'm hoping you guys are enthusiastic now. You have something to say. Remember, under political headache, nobody judges your opinion. Everybody has a right to say whatever they have to say. And because you disagree with the other person, it does not mean you hate them or shout them down. We must be tolerant to each other because for once, we want to nurture a nation that can make decisions based on reason. Can we convince each other on something? So I want to see, who wants to go first? Alionya? Not really. Who wants to? If you have an opinion, let me hear your opinion. And please, because you can see most of you have an opinion, please, can we try and make it 45 seconds and less so that all of us have a fair chance, right? Is that better? Or of 45 ni mingi? 1 minute? Good. Let's give my brother here 1 minute because I can even feel the energy. He's already on fire. Let's go ahead.
So my name is Alvin Kisara, I'm a youth advocate. First of all, it's an honor to be here today. And wacha niamini kila mtu ako na the right to their own opinion. Msinipige nikitoka pale nje. Anyway, labda picha peke yake ndio kitu mnaweza nipiga. So tunapa kudiscuss about the Computer Misuse and Cybercrime Act. Personally, I feel like it's sorry Mr. ndugu yangu wa Sifuna party.
Safina,
sorry.
Sifuna ni mtu.
Sorry. So my apologies.
Market your party better wewe.
So I feel kuna vitu mingi sana kwa hiyo sheria yenye ni poa, especially about mambo na child pornography, mambo na terrorism, and even hapa Nakuru tumekuwa na issue na mambo na confirm, na wakati hao vijana wanashikwa hakuja kuwa na sheria yenye inafanya hao vijana wakamatwe. And there's so many good things about the law yenye at least it will deter those people from committing crime. But again, tunakuja kuangalia mimi na feel like the system of checks and balances in matters power balances inafanya to feel like hakuna hiyo institutional independence kwa mali kama judiciary. Kama judiciary haiwezi oversight, ni serikali tu iko na hiyo mamlaka, then where is our right to fair trial? Ni serikali to try kama judiciary haina hiyo oversight. So mimi na feel hiyo sheria itatufinyilia kwa njia moja ama nyingine, na pia inaandamana na democracy, na pia inaandamana na kazi yenye judiciary inafanya. If judiciary is part of the government, the judiciary, legislative and the executive, then mbona wanakuja wanawakataza like ku oversight vitu kama hizo. So tuna feel hiyo sheria itatufinyilia kwa njia moja ama nyingine irrespective of the good laws around it. Asante.
Thank you. My brother, just remind me your name before you even drop the mic. It was?
Alvin Kisara.
Alvin Kisara.
Yeah.
So your problem with the law is that it makes the judiciary powerless.
Yeah, the institutional independence. Wamenyang'anya institutional independence.
But the law is now at the judiciary level and some sections have been suspended. So can we be able to... That is just my concern as well. Joachim, I also have a right. So let's have my brother here. Please say your name so that also... Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for being brief, my brother. You stuck to 1 minute. So let's keep 1 minute. And also you can speak from wherever you are. So if you are far, don't think you must come. You can still speak. My brother, you can go ahead.
You were telling me directly to be brief. I get it. My name is Oeso Derek, currently the chairman Motion Movers. Now, when we marched inside here, if you could look at that logo of political headache, not unless you will understand the motive behind that logo, you will only have the opportunity either to like it or dislike it. The system, as it stands, it has always, time immemorial, been serving the emperor. And now, the Cybercrime Act, you know, there is one of the speakers here talked about something very important and influential, the aspect of diversion. You came here and you were telling about the child pornography, the cyberbullying, and all those kind of things. That is just but a paint. If you want a kid to do something, you don't just need to shout at that kid and say, I want you to sweep this entire part. You will just present a sweet. Now the child feels you are so caring. And now what is the next thing? The child will even offer him or herself to do what you want. And that is what the government has mastered all over time. Now, with the current Cybercrime Act, I don't have a problem with what you talked about, the aspect of the childhood pornography or whatever. But I have a big problem with the government using the bill with the hidden motive of limiting the young population or the young generation from expressing themselves. And they have mastered the art that it is through online that people disseminate knowledge. And now, by that, I want to seriously differ with the opinion that you made. Regardless of how we might view the government, the system is serving the emperor. Yes, and we must be very cautious about what is behind it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, my brother. There's a lady in red, I think for gender balance. Let her have her opinion. Also for the fact that she's looking very smart.
Hi, everyone. My name is Serfin Akinye. I come from the great county of Kisumu. Yeah, so I will not choose to love or hate, but I will give my clear understanding on the positive side and, of course, the negative side of this act. When I start with the positive side, of course, we all know that social media can be having its negative sides and the positive sides. And I love the fact that the law is really embracing how to regulate the negativity. I know we have it all, and we can use social media the way we want, and nobody's regulating us. And we can see even recently, I saw the story of Sijui, was it on some socialites? You find that somebody, they had an affair with someone, and then when they break up, then they are all stories on social media. They share the nudes of people on social media. That needs to be regulated because it's not right. Whatever you had in private, we don't need to see it in social media. So I love the fact that there is strict penalties for people who are really going that direction, because we know we have results of people who are committing suicide. So that is what I love about the act. And then also on the provision of how properly, the government and service providers are outlining the fact that this law will ensure that the service providers are limited on what things they are giving us, or rather on the aspect of how am I going to put it, the data privacy. Yeah, so on that, I'm negative about the fact that the service providers are allowed to give our information when we are found guilty on using the internet. So the moment they pull down the website, or rather the content, it will infringe the legitimate content. Yeah, so I think that one is very ideal. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much for the amazing conversation. I think another lady, there is a Leonia behind there. I think the ladies had something to do with the dress code of today. Eh? They're doing very well. You have a whole speech, Alionia.
No, it's not a speech. It's something I was reflecting while presenters were making their presentation here. My name is Rosalyn Alionia from the ODM party. So I want to make you people become ODM, even if you're not ODM members. So when I say comrades power, you say, I know. When I say comrades power, just say our power. Comrades power. Comrades power. Usikatae, iti na comrades ni ya kila mtu. Whether uko DCP, whether uko ODM, whether uko KANU. So don't hate me for coming from ODM. Nonetheless, I was reflecting on how the presenters were presenting. And immediately I thought of Kasipul. If someone did not take the images of the dead bodies of Kasipul, if someone did not take the images of the person who had been, I don't know if the eye had been chopped off, probably would not have known. Because the mass media was trying very hard to hide whatever had happened in Kasipul. And I want you to reflect on that. If this bill, and I'm glad lawyers are here, they will explain it to us. If tomorrow someone dies again in Kasipul and someone shares that photo of the dead person, or someone shares the image of someone who has been injured, is that person going to be jailed? Is that person going to be arrested? I just want us to reflect on that. And aside from that, I just wanted to take 1 minute to talk to the youths of Kasipul, and I know I've seen 1 or 2 people who come from Kasipul here. I can tell you for a fact, if you die today because of someone who is being elected, life will move on. If you lost your eye today because of someone who wants to be elected, life will still move on. Unfortunately, the people who died in the Maandamano of 2024, they died, we forgot about them, and life moved on. Si ni ukweli? Yes, that is your opinion, but now there is the mother of Denzel, who is going through the mourning period alone. Truth be said, we will come here to talk about Denzel for political emotions. Ni ukweli. But I want to talk to the youths of Kasipul and Homa Bay at large. Hakuna haja upoteze jicho lako because of an MP who will be voted, and life will continue moving on without you. That is what I'm trying to say. We have to realize that as young people in this country, moving forward, if this bill continues to be the way it is, if somebody killed you in Kasipul and there is nobody who wants to share the killings of Kasipul because of fear of being arrested, trust you me, Kasipul will go on without you. We will go on even if you are amputated. I want to talk to also the IEBC. I saw them release a letter saying that they are warning, they are saddened. And I ask myself, if IEBC is saddened, then what about the people of Kasipul? What will they do? The IEBC should stop being saddened and start taking actions because they know who are the perpetrators. International organizations and NGOs, they are flooded in Nairobi. It is high time you took your boardroom meetings to Kasipul to tell these people that they don't need to die for someone to be elected. It is high time we talk to the governor of Homa Bay County. Madam Gladys Wanga, because the power to some extent lies with her. I believe that this is our chairperson as ODM. She has been the first elected Secretary General of KU. She has been the first commissioner in parliament as a female from Nyanza. She has been the first governor from Nyanza, a female governor. She has been the first chairperson of ODM, a female one. Probably she'll be the first president, I don't know. But if today, Madam Gladys Wanga decided to end the war in Kasipul, it would end. You just have to call all the MCAs. You just have to call all the MPs. You just have to call all the aspirants and talk to them. Because ukweli wa mambo acha niwaambie. Even these people you see, just 1 minute. Even these people you see throwing banters towards each other today. They sit down and take cafe and greet each other. Why is it that you have to die for someone to be elected? It should be you can be in someone's rally and still go to another person's rally and nobody will attack you for doing that. The reason why I'm saying this is because in future, hata kama watu wataki kusema, in case of killings, nobody is going to share that information because of fear of being arrested. And the media won't do it for us. And that's why I'm saying, because I feel it is also concerned with the Cybercrime Act that we are talking about here today, whether you agree with me or you don't agree with me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I want us to all have an opportunity. That's why I really want us to limit, right? Yeah, so I think, let's give my brother here. I think he's been very attentive, and then we can go to, there is Muthoni there. Yeah. Oh, you want to speak from here? Okay.
Yes, good evening, guys. So my name is Jacob Otieno. I'm a resident of Nakuru County. So mi nataka kuongea tu ile lugha yetu ya mavijana. So nimesikia unajua saa hii kama youth na battle vitu mob. Kuna mambo na unemployment, tunatafuta rent. So si hatujapata time ya kusikiza hizi mambo na hii cybercrime law. Tunasikiza tu kidogo kidogo tukipitia huko TikTok. So mi napinga hii mambo na finance hii cybercrime act. Kwa sababu gani? Inataka kufanya, some of us also want to be like Joachim. Joachim said ati social media nimemfanya akuwe vile ako sahi. Si ndio? Hata mimi nataka nikuwe kama Joachim. Sasa serikali kifunga internet, sasa sisi tutakuwa kama Joachim kweli? Unaget? Unaona? So sipingi hiyo act yote. Napinga hiyo mambo na kupost pornography, kupost nudes na hizo zingine. Na penye nafanya na oppose hiyo act ni hapo kwa kufunga internet. Juu hapo ndo tuna mobilize kama sasa tunaenda 2027. Mimi kama Mjaluo from Siaya County, Game constituency, mimi ni diehard wa one term movement. One term movement. Hizo mambo za Raila sasa hii ni past tense. Baba alishakufa.
Thank you.
And sasa hii we are doing politics of logic.
Exactly.
Sio blind loyalty and blind following. Juu sasa wewe ukitaka kuniambia ati I should vote Ruto because he gave up a state burial. Sasa hiyo inanusu na nini? Mimi nangangana na rent.
Thank you.
Okay, sawa.
Thank you very much. A round of applause for him. I love the fact that he has something he agrees with and he has also something he doesn't agree with. I'd say, let's have Muthoni, then you. Muthoni? There is a Muthoni there. Yes. And now, going forward, I'll keep standing here so that we stick to time. You agree with me? Cool.
Good evening. My name is Catherine Muthoni. I want to thank the person who brought this notion here. Personally, as a youth here in Nakuru, we rarely get people who come here and want to tunaonanga Nairobi, so thank you for coming. First of all, I want to say I highly agree that we need a cybercrime act, but we don't need this one. They need to go back to the books and write another one. As someone who is fortunate enough to understand development well, I know that the society kona shida kutoka kwa ground. You see what you see in the online? Ni kitu imekuwa build up from the ground, but sasa inakuwa magnified. Iko kwa online, all of you can see it. But when you come here, it is said that when people are calm, it doesn't mean ati hakuna shida. And neutralism haimaanishi hakuna conflict. So what people and those people who are making policies, na pia wanaweza nipe kazi niwasaidie, they should know that people need things that are representing them. Now, Kenya, we are one of the strong democratic country, ukiangalia kwa East Africa yote. So when you are coming up with acts, they're not supposed to, I think we pigana na what we have. It's supposed to go in line, yeah?
Thank you.
Yeah, okay, thank you. And I'm looking for work. Good na communication, yeah? Okay, thank you.
They say grab the opportunity when it comes, right? And so I think I really applaud her. When you get the opportunity as a young person, you do what? You grab it and you say what you can. Yeah, so kindly just, I had promised her the mic so that I don't end up looking, hi, this one? Then we can, wow. Tutawamaliza?
There's no hurry.
Okay. There's no hurry.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Joy Kamauto. I'm so glad to see all of you, and I'm also very happy that we are having this conversation. I'll just speak on two things. When it comes to the pornography, I would just like to point something. It's a very good thing, but we also have other laws like the sexual offenses. So these laws work in tandem with each other. So when it comes to the porn, we all agree. Nobody wants to see that. Either mostly for our children, the online, it will help in curtailing online child sexual and exploitation abuse. Secondly, I would also want to appreciate it for another thing. Remember I said that laws work in tandem, eh? And when we talk about religious extremism or even things like, for us in Nakuru, we understand something like confirm, extremism of like how the youth are profiled. And sometimes it's real. And most of the time, internet or the computers and mobile phones are used to perpetrate those crimes. It's a good thing because we need the control. We have seen most of the danger online ends up coming physically, very close, especially for us women. I always advocate for women. The danger that is online, in most of the time, like stalking, ends up coming right to where you are. And that is why I think it's a good law. Thirdly, I'll talk on suicide. Suicide is not something that can just be triggered by one action of online. In most cases, this person could be suffering other things. Lack of jobs. Unaona mpaka kwa hii lab, mtu anaomba job. For us, I'm not youth, but for most of our youth, they are battling other things that we cannot see. So, akikuwa trigger, that is usually just a trigger, but there are underlying issues. And we have policies and other laws that can support and help our youth, and even people who are senior in age, to curtail suicide, like helping. It's a good thing that the government recently, ilitoa hiyo issue ya criminalize suicide. You are not taken to court or jailer, juu ya attempt. You are instead taken where? Unafaa kupelekwa hospitali. We want laws that are progressive. This law should be progressive. Unaelewa? I'll give another example ya our youth here in Nakuru. Most of us, I know, we know Oemba. We know Oemba and how he injects. And where does he post his things? Online. Itabidi kabla youth ama mtu yoyote a post kitu. Unafikiria, zuba kabla upost. Si ndio? But there are things that we all agree should not be posted. Like for example, accident imefanyika hapa nje. Na wena kierere yako unaenda unapiga picha unapost. Is that fair? Na hata familia ijapata hiyo information, including putting people's faces. Dignity should be there always. But also our power to speak should not be curtailed or controlled in a way that tunanyamazishwa. Thank you. The law should be progressive. We all agree we need the law because it governs us, but it should not be oppressing and silencing us. Thank you.
Another round of applause for her. I think she's been extremely objective. I'm starting to even think that some of the best legislators that we should be having as a country are actually seated here. And they should actually be seated more in parliament. MP for Rongai. I think that's a big point. And because you've made a sacrifice to come here and have this conversation, then I should be able to allow you say that one more time while standing and facing that camera, so that can be able to go to the larger public.
As I said, thank you for that. I said my name is Joy Kamautori Teach. I am eyeing the seat for Rongai. Hii Rongai ya Nakuru. Enye ni mamba, tunataka kurudisha mambo kwa maji. That is the first thing. Secondly, Gen Z, let me tell you, don't lie to yourself. Kama una kura, enda uchukue kura.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. I think we all agree that we must be able to, as we have these conversations, it's important that we give opportunity to the young people who are also running for elective office out there, right? So that we be able to tackle this problem from its root. Because what I'm hearing from most of you, that most of our problems are also political. And why political? We look at what is our political ideology. That's why I keep insisting that we must be able to really look and ask yourself, the person that you want to support for anything, what is their political ideology? Are we a country that just gangs up tribal numbers? Or are we a country that wants to gang up philosophy? Do our politicians come together because they agree on something? Or do they come together because they are ganging up tribal numbers? Because the reason why we always have a break of governments after election is because the ones who formed it ganged up on tribal numbers or not on any philosophy. And because they did not share a philosophy, they then cannot be able to agree in future. And so we must be able to ask ourselves, are people just ganging up for tribal numbers? Sometimes I sit down and I ask myself, what is the political philosophy of my good friend Kalonzo Musyoka? And when I can be able to see it, I then ask myself, how does that philosophy agree with the political philosophy of Rigathi Gachagua? And how do these two people work together? And so those are some of the things that we must be able to ask ourselves. Do our leaders agree on our political philosophy, all the way from the MCA level to the top? That way we can be able to hold people to account. Otherwise, when we just lump people together for the sake of winning an election, trust me, the system will continue being broken at the end. I want us to welcome, and I'm not saying I'm dropping your opinion, but I am just wanting to be courteous enough to hand this over to my friend Odhiambo, who welcomed me, so that as now from this part going forward, so that I can also get an opportunity to breathe. So ladies and gentlemen, another round of applause for Odhiambo.
Yeah, you're going to heaven after me. Good evening. Can I get a clap, a nice one, to show me that you're still energetic? Thank you. Thank you. I would request our team to get this off the ranks here now. The two of them. Zikwende Ukombali. Now, we're going to 20 minutes, the last 20 minutes stretch, because I know our sugars are also down, right? And we need to get something. I want to call onto the stage the following people. This is going to work. This one's not coming here now. It's just quick fire, okay? But the first question that I have for you, that you must think of in your mind, even as I call these people, this bill or this act, have you gone through it? How many of us have gone through this act? How many? By show of hands, you know what I'm going on? How many of us don't know a thing about it? Okay, how many of us don't know what's going on? Yeah, so that we also know. So that when we start speaking, we have the correctness of facts. So, allow me to invite on stage Jared Mugendi. Makofi kwa Jared Mugendi. Is he still in? Jared Mugendi, wakili. Many of you may not know, Jared Mugendi is a very well-established advocate. He thrives more in commercial law. Property. He's exactly in property. That's why you see him all Gucci. Gucci and Prada. Thank you, Jared Mugendi. And also he's always on TV. How many of you have seen him on TV? Yeah, for those of us who watch TV, just show me your age. Good. Then, of course, then I also want to invite on stage Fanya Mambo Kinuthia. Fanya Mambo, kuja wafanye mambo hapa. This Fanya Mambo guy is going against our comedian of all time. That time he was ridiculous. That guy was very ridiculous. And true, he's ridiculous in his actions in parliament lately. That guy called KJ. Ridiculous, man. Ridiculous. Ndio? Ashindwe. Adrian Olwatch. I want you to come on stage. Wewe Joakim, nataka ukae mahali strategic. Kuja, wewe unataka kugonga. Nataka ukae mahali akuje hapa, si ndio? Team members leta kiti ingine hapa, huyu Joakim akuje hapa. Mtu ako na pesa mingi. Nagawi watu kuna pesa. Unaona vile anatembea? Kutembea watu wako na pesa. Ati haya. Good. Now, ladies and gentlemen, there's a friend of mine who said on Facebook she'll come here. I don't know her by face. Nyar Obila Mruai. Is she here? She's not here. Okay. I remember that name very well. Now, there's one more chair. Okay. Jagero, do you want to sit here or you want to stand? Okay, Jagero, come and sit here. Makofi kwa Jagero, the man who, when he laughs, the eyes are not being seen. When Jagero laughs, the eyes go to China. Jagero, bucheka kidogo. So, ladies and gentlemen, now this is 20 minutes, okay? So right now we are at 17 what? 04. And these are the best of the best. Okay, not that the rest are not good, but best of the best in terms of the speed fire we want to have. We are going to invite questions only. Okay? Questions only. So, we're going to have 6 questions. By show of hands. 6 questions. If you have questions, prepare. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Tap. Sawa. 6 in that order. Tusikinzane. Sawa. Ni kwa heshima, because we also want to make sure that we have a lot of value from this. So we start with question number 1. And then, where's the other mic? The other mic. Apa. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. How are you doing? Are you enjoying? Beautiful. I think before we go to the questions, I want to get back to the gentleman on stage. Fanya Mambo's, when he stood here, it was very clear that he did not like the bill. I could not get anything clear from Adrian whether he likes the bill or he does not like the bill. This gentleman was saying that the people like Fanya Mambo who are against this bill have not provided any bill. So that is the question that I want to ask. Fanya Mambo, the gentleman is saying that that this law is taking care of other issues such as cybercrime, such as pornography, and every other thing. The question that I want to ask you is, what do you think about that? Do you throw away the entire bill, or what happens?
Wakili, around 2006, when the Sexual Offences Act was being passed, your president, Faith Othiambo, was my classmate at Catholic University. So I'll tell you that the Sexual Offences Act is very clear on child pornography. It provides for the fine. Sexual Offences Act, actually, Section 181, 1A of the Penal Code. The Sexual Offences Act of 2006, 16 states that any person who knowingly displays, exposes, or exhibits obscene images, whatever, you will find it there, and provides for the fine of $500,000 shillings and imprisonment for not less than 7 years. Ile shida tuko nayo Kenya, and I'll say it here without fear. Misionangi kama Kenya kuna attorney general, juu hata simkumbuki jina. Explain to me how this country would go and start creating a victim compensations mechanism, yet we have a Victim Compensation Act of 2014, and we have a complete board established even with mechanisms to compensate victims. Alafu, Attorney General and Advice President wana concoct kitu stupid, alafu wanachukua my former classmate, wanamshikisha handi, wanamweka, ati muna compensate victims outside of the law and there's a provision in law. Hii upuzi ndio wamefanya na hii act sahi. The Sexual Offences Act is very clear in its provisions about against child pornography. Then wanakuja wanachukua wakili, munakuja munaanza kutuambia hapa that it is not conclusive. If it was not conclusive, that bit on pornography should have been edited in the Sexual Offences Act, would have had an amendment to the Sexual Offences Act in as far as its provision to pornography is related.
Thank you very much. I want to go
so
to...
just
Yes.
please let me explain this.
Okay.
So Jagero, why some of us feel disappointed is because there are people who come yesterday and they think these laws didn't exist. Kwani sisi tulikuwa tunafundishwa nini Catholic University? These things have been there. These laws have existed. Munakuja hapa juzi munaanza kutuambia tu vitu to make sense. By the AG you need to resign. Me I'll tell you to your face. You cannot be misadvising government like this to continue making new things to deal with provisions that are already there in law.
Okay.
There are so many problems watu wako nazo. I wish Parliament wasted time creating rules and laws that would help us resolve some of the problems we have.
Thank you very much. I want to give Mugendi a right of reply, but I want to go to you directly, Adrian.
Yes,
when you
Jagero.
stood here, I could not figure out whether you are for or against this bill. What do you think about the bill?
Definitely, I am against this bill.
Why?
And not just the bill, but the entire regime.
Okay.
And
Adrian,
no, I know we'll have to sit there. You'll have to give me my opinion.
Ako sawa?
Let me give you my opinion.
Lakini hazitani
Listen,
okay.
If I am talking about that bill, that bill is a weapon that is being used by this regime. So it is in the right sense that I say as an individual that I am against this bill and the regime also.
Do you have a problem with the regime?
So talking about,
do you have a problem with what any bill that the government fronts because you do not agree with them, or you don't agree with the government and you also do not agree with the bill separately?
Surprisingly, I read every bill that is forwarded to Parliament. And since the inception of Ruto, there is no single bill that has been produced in Parliament with the aim of solving the problems of the citizens. All bills that have been produced in Parliament has been done by lobbying by specialist groups. But talking of this cybercrime law, I am against it, definitely. And I love the point that he has raised. There are so many unnecessary things that we are trying to put in the bill that has already been covered by other legislation. Why do we want to mount one law after another so that we can have a huge number of laws to cover certain things that are already covered for? So number one, there's a certain tactic that the government uses to manipulate you into supporting these repressive laws. Number one, they introduced a very sensitive topic like child pornography. You know, whenever you hear of child pornography, you definitely don't even want to talk about it. It is a very awkward topic. So they have to gaslight you into thinking that if you are against this bill, you're also against child pornography. But that is already covered in other legislation. And if you look at about the issue of taking down those type of content, do you guys understand that 100% of all the platforms that we use, X, YouTube, Telegram, are platforms that are not ours, they're international, right? Do you understand the expert mechanisms or the foolproof that these companies have set up such that if right now I go on my TikTok page and I post a pornographic content, in less than 1 second, that content is down. So the government wants to make you assume that these mechanisms are not there. So they want to assume that I can randomly post child pornography on a certain site and it would not be taken down. In fact, we already have even international laws, Wakili knows that govern the transmission of certain sensitive information in our platform. But the government is assuming that is not there. We are going to be doing it for the first time.
Thank you very much. Let me give an opportunity to Mugendi. You can clap. I want you to directly talk about, especially what they are talking about, that there is an idea of lumping these things, that we have got laws that are already taking care of a few issues, such as pornography, but then the government, in its wisdom, quote unquote, comes and lumps them together and say that now, because there is pornography there, because there is cybercrime there. I heard Owiti talking very passionately about people that are bullied and are going back to the village. And that is the reason why we are having such kind of laws. What do you say about that?
First is to say that I am not the government spokesperson. I am giving my views. And when we talk with Fanyamambo, when I shake his hand, do not be surprised. I've never met him, so I want to hear his idea because I can also learn from him. So let's test what he has said. To my mind, because I practice criminal law for a living, I actually have active cases right now. Criminal law, in and of itself, has a right attached to individuals. This law that we are dealing with is concerned with computer misuse and cybercrimes, meaning devices that are in the cyberspaces, platforms that are being used for nefarious reasons. Remember, I said before, I asked Dawood, what did you want to say? Not what is in the parliamentary language. Now that we cannot agree with, and which is okay. What did you mean? And that's why I said the issue that he primarily saw was the anonymity of organized networks which have committed crimes without punishment. That is what he wanted to say. Whether he said it well or he was misquoted is debatable. All right? So using the platforms, let me give you an example. Right now, if I ask any of you, how many of you know, say, Pornhub?
We all know about Pornhub. Ama kuna mtu ajui. Ni sawa kama hujui.
Okay.
Go ahead, but summarize, please.
I am summarizing.
Because Joachim is waiting on the line.
Yes. Now, the reason I asked about that is because if you are not an offender, the law does not target you. And it is important that whether we agree or that, we can at least say we have some consensus on it. Secondly, it is a blip, because I work also in the AI space, to punish organized cybercrime with a fine. Now, most of you may not know this, that there are people right now who have actually done and attempted and even pulled down sensitive government websites, right? There are people who have profiteered, and I'm using Dawood's words because he's the one who wrote it. There are people who have profiteered from child pornography without requisite payment. Now, I want you to understand, the reason I'm seeing a lot of conflation, because I can see hate speech being used as freedom for speech. It is also dancing around to the other side. Hate speech in and of itself has no intention. So that when you say, I have freedom of speech, including freedom to watch, right?
Yes.
That is not the reference. The reference is someone has a criminal intent.
Mr. Mugendi, there's a question that I wanted you to directly deal with. This gentleman, Fanyamambo and Adrian, are saying that there is a lumping of other issues in this bill that are separately taken care of by other bills. What is the reason why they were bringing these others to this specific bill?
That is what I started by saying. I do not speak for the government.
Yagero,
yes.
You've asked that question quite well. And Wakili also tell us, why is it that they gave power to this National Committee on Computer Misuse so that they can take down certain content, while we have the Communications Authority, you know it, right? It has the same function to take down certain, not to take down content, but to make requests. Why is it that this specific committee, rather than authority, an independent authority like Communication Authority, was given this same mandate under the amendment?
Who appoints this committee?
It is an executive appointment, not like the other independent bodies, Wakili. So why is it, just the question that he has asked, why is it that you guys needed to give these people that power, while it is already a power that is outlined with the communication authority.
Thank you for asking as a fellow lawyer. I was wondering. I was looking for the words.
Jagero, let me just blink because we need to have them. Let me just make it clear for him.
Yes.
You know what they did? They brought something terrible. I'll tell you for free.
Yeah.
Then they looked for the best lawyers in the country to defend this rubbish. And most of them said no. So they had to look for a young one, put him on TV. Because let me tell you, this... let me ask you,
who is the young one?
this government, I'll tell you. Look
No, who
here.
is the young lawyer that they put on TV? Who is the...
Jagero. Jagero. No.
That is...
Jagero.
That speech.
Jagero.
Is it Mundalo?
Jagero. Section 16 of the Sexual Offences Act says,
Yeah.
any person who knowingly displays, shows, exposes, or exhibits obscene images, words, or sounds by means of print, audio, visual, or any other media to a child with the intention of encouraging or enabling a child to engage in sexual acts is guilty of an offense of child pornography, and upon conviction is liable to imprisonment for a term not less than 6 years or a fine not less than 500,000
This law you are talking about is not
So
in
this
question.
is the Sexual Offences Act of 2006. So Jagero, tell me, what is it that this new KJ law
Can Mugendi
brings
answer that
to
question?
us
Can Mugendi
that
answer?
is not there? So let's just say this, please, Jagero. The way the courts have looked at it, Section 6 and Section 27 of this act have been put on hold because they are a waste of our time and energy. All those are Kenya Kwanza shenanigans.
Wait, no. I want Mugendi to answer that question. No. I'm giving you your time, but I want Mugendi to finish his thought. Answer this question that this gentleman has posed in 1 minute, and then you come back.
Okay.
Yes.
First, I will not respond to any insinuation that I am anything that has been said.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's not personal for me, and I have a right to be wrong. Remember, I'm standing here as analyzing it as an advocate who practices in the space that we have said. I started by explaining the conflict of laws. The conflict of law that you are seeing, to my mind, as an advocate, did not arise because I said the criminal law that is being quoted is directly is directly inferring to the person. The bill that we are talking about is organized cyber crime and misuse of platforms for profiteering, for illegal activities. That is a conflict which I was trying to separate.
Okay.
Now,
great.
whether you understand it
All
or
right.
not,
All right.
neither here nor there.
I think I did a little bit.
Okay.
Yes.
Second thing.
In 1 minute, so that I give you.
I wanted to, he asked me a question of, I think, what did he ask about? The NC4?
Yes.
Yeah. Citizens of this republic, I want you to understand something. The person who has drafted the bill is not infallible. All right? He's not infallible. That is, infallibility means he has not said. No. Actually, infallibility is not a legal term. Infallibility just simply means the person has not said, I cannot be wrong.
Okay, great.
That is why in my previous statement, I told you, be very wary of anyone who will come and tell you, I am right, they are wrong.
Okay.
Rather than, let me also learn. Okay?
Yes.
And that is the message which I was saying.
Great. I want to give the chance to Jackie.
Jagero.
Yes.
You know, by God's grace, I'm not a lawyer. But I have the grace of synthesizing the legal content they are disseminating.
Okay.
My friend here is playing his role perfect.
What is his role?
And I want to finish.
Okay.
You know, a government is an organized crime syndicate that cannot be prosecuted. And my friend's area of profession is a criminal lawyer. Which means, yes, he practices. Okay, there is that thing that they call literature in law and law as literature. I don't know if that's correct. My friend here, with respect to his profession, he can think like a criminal so that he can be able to deal with the criminals he's representing. So his role here is to keep us not to be on the line of discussion. He wants us to be diverted along other in language and infallibility and all that. The people who made this law are not fools. Did consultation, reference, they know that exist. But intentionally, in my own thinking, they created this law so that we can keep talking about it. You know, they know that the government knows the number of lawyers who can dissect this bill against the number of ordinary people like you and me. The problem comes in where ordinary people like me were blessed by the ability to see through things. The issues that are being raised by the two gentlemen are very legitimate and correct. But we cannot arrive to a problem because the government has utilized the best brains to keep us through circles, that we cannot really arrive to a conclusion, this is wrong. If we have communications authority that deals with the kind of crimes that have been stipulated in this law, and we are asking, why do we have another board that is dealing with the same? But in your defense, you are raising the issue of infallibility of the people who created this law. For you to be able to
yes. That's what you said actually.
Yes, the MP is the person. I agree.
He can be wrong, but the president already signed this is wrong into law.
Yes, you see, as they were making this law, they knew that that could be the argument they will use. That the person making the law is not infallible. He can be wrong. And that will be our defense. That the person who made this is not an all-knowing human being who knows everything.
In finishing,
I'm saying. In finishing, I am saying that this law is not needed. It is here to keep us through circles. Remember, the goal of any government that has an intention of going against democratic principles is to dominate, exploit. So how do they dominate as we keep discussing? They make sure that we are not even in capacity to mount pressure against them. So we are here discussing these bills. And I started by saying there are other bills that were signed, like the privatization bill. I think we'll get time to discuss it. So that by the time we are done discussing cybercrimes, and they might end up throwing all of it to the dustbin. And we will come here clapping that, oh, we did it. We didn't. Privatization bill is ongoing, where a minister can sell a government asset without approval of parliament. That's where the problem is. As we discuss here, people are profiteering, as he has said. The biggest profiteer is our government. That's why me and Adrian and Wakili, we come from the same school of thought, that we are completely against this regime that is using law to curtail us from saying something.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I want to give the members of the audience that were asking questions, please, if you're asking a question, I would ask you that you say your name and then to the person that you're directing the question to, so that they can write them down and talk. There was a question here. I think there was a question here, somewhere here. Was it you, Musoti? Yes. Please ask your question. And you can tell us the person that the question is directed to.
All right. I wanted to make this question very general because I don't want to pinpoint or point fingers to anyone, but whoever will feel like they can respond, they should. So I first agreed we need this kind of a bill or act, but the content is the issue and is the problem because the country and the world is advancing to technology a lot. And so we need to be conscious about digital rights. And not all acts, as Fanyamambo is saying, can actually give support in the digital space. And that means that we need something that can actually address all that in one. Now, the question is, how do we move from the situation that we are in? All right? Because the act is there. It has been there from 2018. The amendment came and it was paused by the court. So now, how do we move? And what do we actually need to do without talking a lot, but we need more action? That is the question.
Thank you very much. I'll let Adrian deal with that question. Any other? Mr. Widdy? Mr. Widdy came Johnny late. I'll pass him. I'll go to the gentleman, please. Your name and the person that you're directing the question to. Then I will go to other three people and then Mr. Widdy is here.
My name is Alvin Kisara and my question, naomba pengine kama ndugu yangu atanijibu nimesahau jina
Mr. Mugendi.
Mr. Mugendi, yeah?
Yes.
Mr. Wakili, do you feel like there is transparency between the government and its citizen, especially in this bill that we are trying to debate about? Kama kuna hiyo transparency between the government and its citizen, especially typically kwa hii sheria yenye tunaongelea ni hiyo tu.
Thank you. We have Joy.
Okay, thank you. It can go to anyone, but I want to ask, do you think that the government suddenly just pulled the computer misuse and cybercrimes after they saw what Gen Z did last year? Like ni government inaekaga ni kama inaweka makaratasi alafu suddenly kiona kitu imefanyika because they have pulled in two things. Kimani Ichung'wah keeps talking about religious extremism simply because the same government unearthed something to do with Shakahola. We have the Terrorism Prevention Act here 2012. How comes that is not the law that was amended, or that issue on religious extremism is not being squeezed there, but it's coming in here? I get it. Maybe
yes.
You get.
Thank you.
Ni kama kitu yenye ni knee-jerk reaction to upcoming issues.
I would like Fanyamambo to deal with that question. There is a question up behind. Yes, they're the same. I think they're the same ones.
I think I'll be very direct. My name is Clinton. I'm a teacher by profession. My question is, if today you are cyberbullied, where will you report that issue? I work for a client and we've been cyberbullied for the last 3 weeks. And currently we have an active case that is going on. And I can say, even as we criminalize this bill, let us look at its pros. So I would want to understand that. If today you are cyberbullied,
yes,
exactly, where would it be your first line of
Joachim,
defense?
if you are cyberbullied, where would be your first line of defense? We are going back there. Joachim, if you are cyberbullied. Thank you. No, not now. Bwana, kwani hii Kenya utafanya kazi moja? Go ahead, please.
Okay.
Say, go ahead, sir.
So my name is King David.
Excuse me, let's hear what he has to say, please.
My name is King David Mungai. I'm a student at JQuat practicing medicine. I would like to direct my question, as Joachim has put it, to the ones at the school of the same thought. My question is, he said something about this bill that we are currently discussing on the social media and about digital spaces. He said something about it being a chaos. And I would like to quote an infamous quote that says, systems usually create chaos so as to gain control. So, my question, if influence has currently become a new currency, and creators now move minds faster than politicians move bills, are these new cyber laws really about safety or about reclaiming control and maybe even income? We have had some speakers criticize AI. I personally practice AI content creation. You can open TikTok, it's called AI Eldest Buddy. And I have earned money by alliancing with Bcash company by creating some adverts. So this is a positive outcome from using AI generated content. I've also created some AI generated voiceovers. So my question is, how is it that we can partner as creative youths with this bill and not just making this regulation a weapon of control, but also make it something that we can have a say in it? Because it's something that should be changed. But where are we having the say in it?
Thank you very much. I have a witty here. And that is the sixth one. And then we can go to the... Joachim, was that your question? I had them. Yeah. Yes, great.
I suspect this is not going to be a question. We are discussing the cyber security laws in atmosphere of 2 term and 1 term, and I want this seat here and there. I think we need just to come here and forget about who is the president and when he's going to have his 2 term or no term. Then we discuss this without reference to must go and all that. Then we will have a good discussion.
People are also very inflamed, Mr. Odoyo. It's the only time to say what they want.
No. Let me tell you.
Okay. In 1 minute, because we're going to the
every
answers.
time I have come here or wherever it is,
Yeah.
I have explained to you that emotions impair judgment.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. I want to give it to Joachim. Joachim, you can go first. You answered 2 questions. Joachim, don't overstate your facts. Tafadhali.
Yes. So if I have a lot of them, you will bear with me.
Okay.
First of all is to demystify. I sit down. To demystify what my brother and elder brother Odoyo is saying.
Yes.
We are in a political environment. And we have to refer our problems to a political genesis. So we cannot therefore eradicate this political genesis from this discussion. My friend here has asked about a government engineering chaos so that they gain control. And he has also raised a point that had escaped my mind, that now influencers are even more in control, more than some politicians. And that in its own essence threatens some politicians. So how do you gain control? You make sure that you now stifle the environment through which these influencers operate. And they actually come to you for approval for them to operate. It's about control, domination, and exploitation. Those 3 things, I think we have to keep on remembering them. There is a question that was raised by someone.
Somewhere over there. I think it was Joy.
Yes, that when I am cyberbullied.
Yes. The teacher.
Where do I go? The teacher with the client. I am also wondering. My friend here, Odoyo Widi, is cyberbullied every day.
Yes.
But he has not committed suicide. And again, I don't know where he has gone to. He has not reported it anywhere. Something we need to make sure that if you do not want to deal with the consequences of being in a public life, don't get into public. I decided to be where I am today, knowing that I can wake up tomorrow and I see 3 million insults on social media, and I'm okay with it. And I have prepared my family that this thing that is feeding you has its repercussions. That you can wake up tomorrow, as my wife, there is an AI-generated image of you in a coffin. Can you please develop thick skin and be content with that? Because there is no area of profession that has no its downsides. Fundi wa nyumba anajifunga mshipi, ananing'inia gorofa namba 9, that mshipi can fall. Where does he report when hiyo mshipi imekataa? Anaanguka. There are some things you can't overregulate everything. In finishing, yes. As you say. You cannot overregulate everything. And you want to now see every scenario and put a law that cares
takes care of it. We are going to have
thank you very much.
A very
I want you to give the mic to Mr. Fanyamambo.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you. I think mine is very easy. We are here celebrating the life of Baba. Hii Kenya, no, it is important. Hii Kenya kuna mtu ametukanwa kuliko Raila Odinga. Kuna mtu amechorwa kuliko Raila Odinga. Ameitwa Kimondo Kigoroki, ameitwa all sorts of names. Niambieni siku moja muliona Raila ameenda kuripoti mtu amemtukana. I want to tell you for free. How you behave in public life determines how people will treat you on social media. Mama Samia Suluhu alichorwa hivyo kwa nini? Come on, mbona hajachora Sifuna hivyo? Mbona hajachora Babu Owino hivyo? You are here selling to us rubbish and you want us to paint you nicely. And I'm not saying we are going to paint you badly. The social media ni kioo cha jamii. When you look and you see an ugly hippo, that's how the society looks at you. JM Karaoke, he died, na siku hizi picha zake zikichorwa mpaka leo, wanachoranga mzuri. Tom Mboya, he died. When people write about Tom Mboya, they say good things about Tom Mboya. We wouldn't say the same things about Moi. We wouldn't say the same things about so many other people who have died. If you are a dinosaur, people will draw you as a dinosaur. Full stop. If you are a monkey, people will draw you as a monkey. If you are Mandela, mbona mimi sijaona picha ya Mandela akichorwa vibaya? Amewekwa mkia, amefanywa zile vitu Suluhu amefanywa. Come on, be good to people. And people will pay you back with goodness. Wewe unataka ukue kiongozi takataka na uchorwe vizuri, na shida ikichorwa vibaya unataka kufunga social media. Finally, is it a knee-jerk reaction? My friends, these people are looting the country, die. Unasikia wana privatize beach, and I mean beach with a B-E, not B-I. Wana privatize huko. Beach ili make hasara gani because it said these loss-making institutions that need to be privatized. Ulisikia beach ime make hasara? In fact, the biggest loss-making outfit in this country have always submitted is, it's State House. It's the only place we put in money and get zero value out of. If there's an institution we needed to privatize and actually sell off, it's that one. But all the same, that's my opinion.
Thank you very much. Adrian, please. Itakuwa hoteli.
So I would also love to definitely reply to what our elders stated, or Mr. Odoyo here, because I've been the one who has been very critical and open about mentioning that I do not support this regime. So definitely we cannot separate the discussion of a bill or a policy without talking about the political current situation that we are having. And in fact, whenever we are going to court and we are critically analyzing the law, there is something that we call purposive interpretation and not just substantive interpretation.
What does that mean?
Purposive interpretation is that despite the law is substantive in a certain way, we will always look at the purpose and the intention of that law that is put in place. So if you present a cybercrime law at the High Court and you are stating that it constitutionally violates certain laws, the judge also has an obligation to look at the purpose and the intention of the people who brought that law and why it is being questioned in court. Another thing, there's been a wide discussion about talking of insulting government officials. I want to remind citizens and Kenyans, you do not have an obligation to praise the government for doing something that they're supposed to do in the Constitution. There is nothing like that. That is the work that you have. And in fact, I tell you, the mere relationship between a state and a citizen is that a citizen is not supposed to love the state. Because the presumption is that if anyone is given power, they will always abuse it.
So if we say Minister so-and-so ni takataka,
there is no problem with that. In fact, I always say this, and I wish one day I can become a judge. I wish one day I can become a judge, because one thing I tell you is this. The way you treat a private citizen and a person who is in office is very different. If I lash out at you in person and I tell you, you have a big head, that is personally attacking you.
You don't mean that.
Definitely, I don't mean that. But if I lash out at a cabinet secretary and I tell him that, You are stealing our money. That is why your head is getting big. This person has no obligation to criticize me because by the mere acceptance of being in that position, you must accept that people will always call for accountability in any way, whether it is insult, whether it is calling you names. So we have no obligation as citizens to love the government.
Mugendi. Yes. Yes, I will give no. Mimi nimepewa kazi ni run this one. Sasa hiyo utaongea na watu wa MC.
Okay. You don't have a big head. I have not seen anywhere in the law where we are criminalizing insult. Let me start by saying that. And I ask all of you, I have talked to this gentleman who wrote this thing. Whether you like him or not, if you have conspiracies about who he gets money from, that's your business. There is no law that I know of that criminalizes insult. Most of you have been on the road, right? If someone cuts you off, what's the first thing that comes out of your mouth? All right. Now, if you tell me that we are criminalizing insult, what we have simply said is you have stopped speech. What I was talking about was cyber harassment, and I kept insisting from the word go. Think with me. Anyone who has interpreted this bill, get the ideology that there is a force that has no checks and balances, and they have set their own principles, and they are not accountable to anyone. That is why you can sit at a panel and tell someone that insult is equals to harassment. Okay? Reform Section 5 in the UK. It was done by, and Rowan Atkinson did it very well. There can be no law that criminalizes insult. We cannot walk through life because you are sensitive. We cannot walk tiptoe because you are sensitive. Right? Right?
In finishing.
Yes.
In finishing.
What that means is harassment is deliberate, intentional, with an intent to degrade your capacity to remain sane, normal. Okay? That is harassment. For instance, if I bring Joachim to sit on your lap unintentionally, he's harassing you.
The guy has weight.
Right? I like that.
In finishing, Mr.
Please,
Mugendi.
in finishing.
Unajua nyinyi lawyers bwana.
No. This is not even law. This is a foundation of this society. Let me finish by saying this. The injuries we know are injuries which appear on the body. For instance, I can stab him, he bleeds. I can do something to him, I injure him. But the injuries people don't talk about, and the injuries that happen on the psyche, that someone is deliberately and intentionally injuring your psyche. And those people often, when they commit those injuries, they are permanent in nature. Because the criminal intent that exists in that kind of crime is to ensure that you are not the person that you are created to be. You act contrary to your interests. That is why the reading of is likely meant. If you read at the statistics of suicide, there is no, even in the top 10 reasons, there is no suicide that is related to insult.
Thank you.
And there was a 2024 study about it. The suicide that was being referred to, and I asked Dawood about it, is the deliberate, repeated intention to harass someone until they act contrary to their interests.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Odoyo, you're saying that you've been mentioned a lot of times. Please, 1 minute.
No, I wanted to tell them not to confuse elections and politics. Those are two different things.
Okay.
So let us come here, talk politics and the law, but not talk elections.
Okay, thank you very much. Can you please give a great hand to Mr. Mugendi? A hand to Mr. Mugendi, please. A hand to Brian. To Adrian. A huge hand to Fanya Mambo. A huge hand to Joachim Simiyu. A huge hand to yourselves.